Hey everybody, I'm Simon. Welcome back to my channel Such Plants. It's been about 3 months now since I received my order from Ecuagenera that I imported when they came to South Africa to do the pop-up. So I thought let me do a quick update on how all these plants are doing. There are a lot of plants to get through, so I'm not going to waste any time. I'm just going to get straight down to it. Some of them have done well, some of them haven't, and let's just get on with it. I'm not doing them in any particular order, just as they kind of come off the shelf. This is the Queen Anthurium, and out of all the Anthuriums it's probably done the worst, which I think was expecting because they are quite humidity dependent. I originally had it in my propagation tank, and I eventually moved it into the greenhouse into a tub in there and slowly got it used to the humidity, and it is now out in the open out there, but there are a couple of leaves that have taken a bit of a knock because of that, this one in particular, but it has given me a new leaf, this one, and that leaf is actually looking really good. So I'm hoping that now that it is adjusted to the humidity in the greenhouse, that it will continue to do well. The Philodendron luxurians was doing pretty good. In the beginning it had 2 leaves, it came with 2, one eventually yellowed and I cut it off, and then it was left with the other one, and that one stayed on the plant forever. Eventually, when I decided to transfer all the plants over into my regular aroid mix, I couldn't fit this plant into the mix and put it in such a way that it would crawl nicely, so I chopped the plant, and this is the top cutting. The leaf did eventually, it didn't like it. So the leaf did fall off, and this is what is left. It's still doing okay. I feel like there might be some swelling on this. There might be something coming through. We'll see how it goes. It's still solid. It's still green. I think it's okay. Then this is the other cutting that I took, and this is actually also done pretty good. There are 2 growth points coming through on this plant, coming through. One is over there, and one is over there. He's just in the greenhouse. We're just keeping him going. Hopefully I get a couple of plants out of this guy, but we'll see how it goes. I knew this plant was going to be a rough one. I'd heard that they were quite finicky. If I get plants out of it, I get them. If I don't, I don't. That's just the luck of the draw, I guess, when you import plants. Anthurium quaramaliense. So this plant came in, if you remember, you can go back. In fact, any of these plants, I'm going to add this video to a playlist. So if you want to see what these plants look like when they came in, I've also done a week update and a month update. If you want to see what they looked like when they came in, you can just go back into the videos and have a look. But this guy came in, it had 1 new leaf that was just unfurling, and it had really completely dried out. I had to cut it off. But these 2 leaves are the leaves that the plant came with. This one in particular had some fairly substantial damage to it. This one looked fairly good. But just recently we have got this leaf out of the plant, which is unbelievable and perfect. It is so pretty, and it's actually even bigger than the other 2 leaves, and it is not completely fully hardened off yet. So I'm really excited about this plant. There are some amazing roots coming through here. So yeah, I'm really excited. I think this plant is going to do really well. Philodendron SP Colombia. So this plant actually looks really pretty. I was so excited to get this plant. It came in with yellow leaves. I cut everything off and just put it into perlite, and then have recently moved it into arid mix. It's not doing anything. I don't know, maybe there is some movement. I feel like maybe there's some movement there. So it looks like this plant might be starting to send out a new leaf here. There is a little bit of a split in the caulicle, but I'm hoping so, and I think this plant is a crawler. I'm not sure. I'm really hoping. I mean, it's been 3 months, so any kind of slight, even that just little split in the caulicle is very exciting for me. So who knows? I'm going to do another update in another 3 months, so maybe by then we'll have a leaf coming through on this guy. I don't know. These 2, the luxurians and the SP Colombia, they're irritating. The Philodendron undulatum, This plant is so cool. I really like this plant. I really like the winged petioles, but it came in with a new leaf coming through and that leaf rotted away, and since then it's done absolutely nothing. But the old leaves look fantastic still. It sort of reminds me a little bit of a serpent's leaf in a way. I might cut it eventually. I don't know. I'm going to give it another month and see what happens, and then I might just chop off the top and propagate that and see if I can get some new growth on some of these other nodes and see what happens. Speaking of the serpents, I cut the serpents up as soon as it arrived. It really did not look good, and these have actually done really, really well. I had, I think, 3 cuttings, three wet sticks and the base. I think, is one of these the base? Yes. So one of these is the base. I think it's this one. I swapped one of the wet sticks before it even really sent out a leaf. And then the other one I gave to a friend, but they all took and they were all doing brilliant. This one is doing fantastic. And there's the other one, also looking really, really cute. I love these furry petioles, and even on such a small plant, they really are very furry. This plant. This is Philodendron tinu. It came through, it looked like it was going to do amazingly well. I took it out of the plastic packaging and it didn't have a single root on it. I just thought, oh, that's brilliant, I'll just prop it up. The leaves look really super healthy, it'll grow roots very easily. It did not. I cut eventually the bottom 2 nodes off. I put one in water and one in perlite. Let me show you those. I have recently just checked this. This is the top cutting. It was in perlite, and I've recently moved it into arrowwood mix. When I took it out, still 0 roots. 3 months later, there's nothing. Zilch. This is the propagation that was originally in water, and it's the only one that rooted, and it does have a new leaf and a new leaf coming through. Surprisingly, because normally I find that the plants that I propagate in water don't do as well as the ones I do in perlite. So this one was in perlite, and I have since moved it into water probably about a month ago, and that's, I think maybe this plant just likes to be propagated in water. There you can see it does have a new growth point. The leaf, not so pretty. So all in all, we'll wait and see what this one does. It's still alive and it's still green. It might root, we'll see. But either way, I've definitely got 1 plant out of it, possibly 2 if the cutting that I've now moved to water really does take, and then possibly 3 if this one takes. If nothing happens here in another month, I'll move it into water as well. Anthurium pallidiflorum. So all the Anthurium did surprisingly well, and I've always struggled with Anthurium. And I must say that this experience, having imported them and changing my mix, my arrowwood mix, has really given me a lot more confidence in Anthurium. So I've really, really enjoyed this plant. This was the first Anthurium, I think, to give me a new leaf, which is this one here. It gave me this leaf, and it is getting a new leaf over here. It has done really crazy well, and the roots on this plant, you cannot believe. Look at those roots. Oh my God, they are crazy. So this plant has done incredibly well. Really, really happy. Highly recommend. These leaves are amazing. The Anthurium veitchii has done really well. It was one I knew it would do pretty good because it's not a velvet leaf Anthurium. This is the first leaf that came out for me. I did have to help it out, and that's why the little point in the end there is broken off, and there is a new leaf coming through. And I'm going to do my best not to help that leaf. But all in all, this plant has done really well. Some nice roots there. Philodendron nangaratense. This plant did really well right from the start. It did throw a little bit of a tantrum when I transferred it from perlite into my arrowwood mix. It got a bit dehydrated, the leaves got a little bit soft, but since then it has recovered. It's given me this brand new leaf, which is beautiful, and it does have a new leaf coming through. I'm going to wait for this guy to crawl to the end of the pot, and then I'm going to put him into a self-watering rectangular pot so he can get nice and big. Philodendron substratum. This guy also did really well. He's one of the plants one of the few philodendron that didn't give me a heart attack. He came out with this leaf recently, so it did take him a long time to give me a new leaf, and then right away he's giving me another new leaf. The first leaf is a little bit small and a little bit malformed, but this new leaf coming through now looks like it's actually going to be a really good one. Philodendron verrucosum Amazon Sunset. This plant I'd heard horror stories about shipping and that it was really bad. It ships really badly. This plant actually did really well for the longest time, but it slowly over time deteriorated, and I'm at the point now where I actually think I might cut this plant up and try and propagate from scratch again, because this leaf is super floppy, and this new leaf that it gave me, as you can see, is really not in great shape, and the growth point over here has disappeared to nothing basically and died off. There is actually a new growth point over here, so maybe what I'll do is I'll just leave this for now and see if I get some new growth out of that. The Anthurium metallica has been a surprise favorite actually. I knew this plant gets really big leaves, and so that's why I wanted to get it. When this plant first came in, it had a new leaf coming through, but the plant abandoned that leaf and it died away, but I didn't have to wait long for it to send out this new leaf. It has done amazingly well. Root-wise, there's just tons of roots everywhere throughout this pot, and this new leaf, I hope you can see, is way bigger than any of the other leaves on this plant, so it's doing crazy well. All of the Anthuriums actually, except for the queen, although the queen isn't bad, but they've all done so well. This is the, well, supposedly Philodendron fibrosum, although looking at the Ecuagenera website now, the plants that they are selling as fibrosum look very different to this plant. If you look at the petiole in this plant, it is not fuzzy at all, and if I look at all of the fibrosum for sale on Ecuagenera now, they have a very fuzzy petiole, very similar to the serpent. So I'm not actually sure what this plant is. If anybody has any idea, you can leave a comment down below. This plant was doing okay in the beginning. The top of the plant, I did get a couple of new leaves, but they didn't really do very well, and eventually that whole top portion rotted away. So I chopped it off and repotted this onto a pole, and I'm now getting a nice new little growth point over there. So I'm sure that within a couple of months we'll have a nice brand new plant here. I'm not worried about it at all, and I mean, even if it isn't fibrosum, it really is, I think, quite a pretty plant. So looking forward to see what this turns into and hopefully getting an idea on it. The last plant on this list is this one. It's in a big heavy pot. This is the Philodendron pestozana, and I think out of all the philodendron, this one has probably done the best. This leaf over here is the first leaf the plant gave me. This one, the second leaf, which is now, I think, the biggest leaf on the plant. And it is giving me a brand new leaf over here. And this one looks like it's going to be even bigger. So I'm really excited about it. It is actually giving me a new growth point, funny enough. So I'm not sure what's going on there, if it's going to turn into a new plant or if it's just keeping it there as a just in case. Eventually what I'll do with this plant is once it gets to the end of the pot, I will cut it up into sections and have all of them propagate. But this plant has done incredibly well, and I'm so happy with it. And that is the update on all the plants. Thank you for staying with me. I'll probably do another update on these plants in 6 months, and hopefully by then they will either be thriving or they will no longer be with us and I don't have to worry about them anymore. I do have a couple of wish list plants arriving in December at some point, so I will do a video on those, I think. They're all arriving, I think, at different times, so I'm going to film them all separately and then I'll put them all together in one video. but I'm looking forward to showing you guys what's coming. Have a good one.